Some people walk through life with a quiet strength. They've been betrayed, broken, abandoned, and burned, yet they don't complain. They don't seek revenge. They don't collapse. They simply endure. You've met them. Maybe you are one of them. People who've gone through too much, and yet somehow they're still standing, still calm, still kind, still strong. What's their secret? How do they survive what would destroy others? How do they keep their minds intact when everything around them falls apart? The answer lies in a forgotten wisdom, a philosophy forged in fire, exile, and loss. This is the Stoic psychology of those who've suffered deeply and emerged unbreakable. Stoicism doesn't promise a life without pain. It doesn't offer comfort. It offers clarity. The Stoics believed that suffering is not what happens to you. It's how you interpret what happens. As Epictetus said, it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This is the foundation of Stoic psychology. You are not your trauma. You are not your past. You are the master of your response. Modern psychology tells us that trauma rewires the brain. It can lead to hypervigilance, emotional numbness, anxiety, and depression. But it can also lead to something else, post-traumatic growth. Some people emerge from suffering with deeper empathy, sharper focus, and a stronger sense of purpose. Why? Because they've learned to reinterpret pain. They've trained their minds to see adversity not as a curse, but as a forge. This is where Stoicism becomes more than philosophy. It becomes therapy. It becomes armor. Seneca, one of the great Stoics, warned us, "Soft living makes for soft minds." He practiced voluntary discomfort, sleeping on hard floors, fasting, walking barefoot, not to punish himself, but to prepare. He believed that if you expose yourself to discomfort willingly, you rob fear of its power. This is Stoic exposure therapy. It's not about avoiding pain, it's about rehearsing it, so when real hardship comes, you're not surprised. You're ready. People who've gone through too much often carry a strange calm. They've seen how fragile life is. They've lost people. They've lost parts of themselves. The Stoics had a name for this awareness, memento mori. Remember you must die. To modern ears it sounds dark, but to the Stoics it was liberating. If you remember that everything can be taken, you stop clinging. You stop wasting time. You start living with urgency, with clarity, with purpose. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while enduring war, plague, betrayal, and the death of his children. Yet in his private journal he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the Stoic mindset. Obstacles are not interruptions, they are invitations. Pain is not punishment, it is training. The Stoics believed in building an inner citadel, a fortress of the mind that no external force could breach. You lose your job? The citadel stands. You're betrayed? The citadel stands. You're grieving? The citadel stands. Because the citadel is built on reason, virtue, and choice, and no one can take those from you. Today, psychologists are rediscovering what the Stoics knew centuries ago. Cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most effective treatments for trauma, is rooted in Stoic principles. CBT teaches your thoughts shape your emotions. You can challenge irrational beliefs. You can reframe your suffering. Sound familiar? Epictetus taught the same. He said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, because growth requires humility and healing requires courage." People who've gone through too much often develop a deeper sense of what truly matters. They stop chasing status. They stop fearing judgment. They start living with intention. They become more empathetic, more grounded, more aware. They don't waste time on drama. They don't chase validation. They've seen the edge, and they've come back wiser. This is not weakness. This is not numbness. This is Stoic strength. The Stoics didn't wait for life to test them. They tested themselves. They practiced poverty. They fasted. They walked barefoot in winter. Why? Because they knew that comfort creates fragility and preparation creates freedom. If you've gone through too much, you already know this. You've been forced into discomfort. But now you can choose it. You can train your mind to meet pain with poise. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not for the world, but for himself. It was his therapy, his mirror, his battlefield. He reflected daily on his thoughts, his actions, his failures. He reminded himself that he could die tomorrow, that anger is weakness, that virtue is the only true good. You can do the same. Journaling is not just writing, it's reprogramming. It's how you turn chaos into clarity. What about injustice? What about betrayal, abuse, cruelty? The Stoics never said to accept injustice passively. They said, act with reason, not rage. Fight for what's right, but don't lose yourself in the fight. As Marcus wrote, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. People who've gone through too much often carry scars from injustice, but Stoicism teaches, don't let the world make you bitter. Let it make you better. There's a kind of peace that only comes after pain, a silence that follows the scream, a stillness that's earned. People who've gone through too much often radiate that peace, not because they're untouched, but because they've been refined, like steel in fire, like stone in the river, like the mind in Stoic practice. You don't need to be born strong to become unbreakable. You don't need to erase your past to build a powerful future. The Stoics didn't deny pain. They didn't pretend life was easy. They simply refused to let pain define them. They chose to live by principles, not by moods. They chose to respond with reason, not react with rage. They chose to build a mind so strong, no storm could shake it. And you can too. Every hardship you've faced has given you a choice: to collapse or to construct, to break or to build, to surrender or to stand. You are not here by accident. You are here because you've endured. You are here because something inside you refused to give up. That something at that quiet fire is what the Stoics called virtue. It's your compass, your anchor, your power. So the next time life tests you, and it will, remember this. You've already survived more than most. You've already proven your strength. Now it's time to refine it. Build your inner citadel. Sharpen your thoughts. Live with intention. And never forget, you are not your wounds. You are the warrior who carries them. Throughout history, there have been people who embodied Stoic resilience, not just in theory, but in the fire of real suffering. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, ruled Rome during plagues, wars, and betrayal. He lost children, faced political conspiracies, and carried the weight of an empire. Yet he never lost his inner clarity. In his private writings, he reminded himself daily to stay humble, to accept death, and to act with justice. His meditations were not meant to impress others. They were a lifeline, a way to stay grounded in virtue when the world around him was falling apart. Then there was Epictetus, born into slavery, beaten and crippled. He had no wealth, no power, no freedom, yet he taught that true freedom is found in mastering your mind. He said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus has the power to break my freedom of choice." His life was proof that dignity does not depend on circumstances. It depends on how you think. And there's Portia Catonis, daughter of the Stoic Cato the Younger and wife of Brutus. In a world that silenced women, she demanded to be heard. When her husband faced death, she proved her strength by enduring pain without complaint, showing that Stoic courage was not reserved for men. Her story reminds us that resilience is not about gender, it's about character. These are not myths. These are real people who faced real suffering, and they chose to respond with reason, not rage, with courage, not collapse, with virtue, not vengeance. Their stories are not just history, they are blueprints. They show us what's possible when we stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" They remind us that the mind, when trained, can become a fortress, that even in chains you can be free, that even in grief you can be grateful, that even in darkness you can carry your own light. So when you feel like you've gone through too much, remember, you are not alone. You walk a path that has been walked by emperors, exiles, warriors, and philosophers, and every step you take with courage, you honor them, and you become one of them. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Comment below. What part of Stoic psychology hit you the hardest?